Hello, my name is QuintinS, and I am doing my project on the honeybee crisis and colony collapse disorder. To start off, I would like to give a quick fact about the honeybees and a little bit of their history. The honeybees have been around for many decades and have been very important to areas such as ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and ancient Rome. Now, it is not just the honeybees, but the honey they produce that is so important to these areas because although honey was, of course, used for different reasons, one thing that all three areas agreed on was that they believed honey to have healing and medicinal properties. So, honey was very, very important to all three areas for those healing and medicinal properties. One honeybee has the ability to visit over 100,000 flowers in a single day in order to collect pollen. I believe that to be probably one of the most interesting and amazing facts about honeybees, along with the fact that it is also possible for a honeybee's wing to be flapping so fast that it produces a static discharge, and pollen simply kind of zaps up to the honeybee himself. You can look at many pictures of honeybees being covered in completely pollen. That is not simply because they go diving and rolling around in pollen, but also because of the static electricity that they produce, such as when you rub a balloon against your clothing and then put it in somebody's hair, and then the hair is kind of sticking out towards the balloon. That kind of static discharge. And one of every three mouthfuls of food is somehow related to the honeybee pollination. Many people would not understand the importance of honeybees and their task in this world, which is to pollinate. But without the honeybees and their pollination techniques, we would be missing out on a lot of the foods that we have today. Pollination helps to produce fruits and vegetables we can eat and also helps produce more seeds in order to plant more of those fruits and vegetables. Honeybees pollinate many fruits and veggies that we all use, such as broccoli, watermelons, cauliflower, cabbage, and strawberries. Now, of course, there are many more fruits and veggies. These are just a few to name. Now, just a few reasons for the colony collapse. Pesticides. Pesticides are a chemical used for killing insects. We all know pesticides. A lot of people buy pesticides for roaches, for ants, and other things. Pesticides are used for killing insects. But compared to the other pesticides, there's one in particular known as neonicotinoids, and they are specifically more worse for honeybees compared to the other pesticides. Something else, another reason is loss of habitat. Bees rely on flowers and weeds for a nutritious food source. Now, with rural areas being torn down and destroyed to build more urban areas, naturally their food source of weeds and flowers is being completely destroyed. Another reason is climate change. Global warming is very, very real, and it is the centerpiece for many other things going on in the world today. But as of right now, what we're going to talk about is how global warming has caused the warmer winters and have caused a schedule change in plants. By schedule change, I simply mean that the plants are blooming faster, but the plants are also dying faster. So, with the plants blooming and dying faster, the honeybees, when they come out of hibernation, they either have no plants in their area and are forced to go hunting for those plants for nutritious food source and for pollination, or they simply are in limited supply, considering how there probably won't be many left alive. And if they are alive, it's just barely because, like I said, they are dying faster. Something else is disease. Mites carry pathogens that weaken bees, which increase the effect of pesticide poisoning. But if pesticide poisoning happens first, that simply puts the disease and puts the bees and makes them susceptible to disease. Some diseases are Israeli acute paralysis virus and the gut parasite known as nosema. So this is like a part two. A lot of people don't understand or know that bees actually have stress. Bees have a mind. They are living things, just like we know that dogs and cats have emotions. It is not out of this world or weird for other animals to have emotions, and bees are actually put under a lot of stress because of the fact that they have to do multiple transport all across the country. And also, something else to notice that some people don't know is that bees have actually been declining in population ever since World War II. So, um, and the reason for that is because the, well, our community has been deciding to plant less and less of clover and alfalfa. Clover and alfalfa are cover crops, and these cover crops are natural fertilizers. But for some reason, we have abandoned natural fertilizers and moved towards synthetic fertilizers, which of course is not healthy for the bees. As a community, we continuously do things that will harm the bees, and yet we still plant crops that require bee pollination more than ever. What I mean by this is that bees have been dying and decreasing in population for about 50 years now, but there has been a 300% increase in crops needing the pollination. We are slowly but surely killing our main source of pollination, the honeybees, simply because we destroy their habitats and ruin their food supplies, or because whether we know it or not, we are infecting them with pesticides. Now, of course, like I said, they can develop diseases, and that's not always our fault. But the main fault as humans is the fact that we are destroying their food supply and infecting them with pesticides. Some possible solutions to help the colony collapse is plant flowers that are best for bees and avoid contaminating these flowers with pesticides. So something to do your part is simply go online, look up your native flower, and collect that flower, plant it in a pot, put it on your porch, or put it in your lawn, whether it be in a front backyard, doesn't matter. It's something that will definitely help the bees. And like I said, we need more flowers blooming from spring all the way up until fall. We do not, so the bees can be out of hibernation and be able to enjoy their food supply and get more pollen and collect more pollen. Now, if you want to do something bigger, you can also campaign to have those flowers put into areas that are close to you, such as public parks, meadows, public gardens, and other community spaces. Something else is that as a community, we need to consider the planting of cover crops once again, instead of fully relying on synthetic fertilizers. This simply put, we have access to a natural fertilizer, yet we're using synthetic fertilizers, which doesn't make much sense. A great example that we should all follow as a community is the Washington State beekeepers. The Washington State beekeepers have been showing how to properly take care of bees. And their sole mission is to simply help local beekeeping organizations and assist the agricultural community and promote beekeeping and bee products and more. To summarize this slide and simply go back on what I said and refresh, bees are declining. We may not notice it, we may not see it, but if you do your research, they are declining in population, and we do need these bees for pollination of our crops. We, as a whole, as a community, as humans, need to take better care. We take them for granted, and we don't even know it, or most people don't know it, or some just don't care. But when certain crops are not coming to their full potential because we took the honeybees for granted, and the honeybees were never able to fully pollinate our crops like we needed them to, then a lot of things are going to end up going wrong. So Simply, we need to plant more flowers, more resources for the bees, because we're also tearing down their food supplies. We need to simply take responsibility and give back to the honeybees because they've done so much for us willingly. And these are my resources. Thank you for your time.